Let's go!
There's one thing that this beta, this situation has like brought upon us, is like a realization. It's a realization of how important matchmaking is and the functionality of a game's online modes, where you could even have like a super feature-rich game. You can have all this glitz and glam and amazing systems and everything. You can legit have one of the best fighting games of all time. But if it launches nowadays and it has like those issues, even if it's a fun game, it'll be tough. It'll be a struggle. And I think we're seeing that happen live, like in front of us, when there was not nearly as many options. And obviously rollback netcode and, you know, the quality of the online experience was pretty compromised across the board. Getting a good online fighting game was kind of tough. That really isn't the case nowadays, where it's like, yeah, most games just work, and we have to give credit where credit is due. Like Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6. Regardless of how you feel about certain parts of those games online and their functionality, they get you matches, bro. Like, you find games. It isn't a problem of like, oh, there's a ton of people playing. Of course you're gonna find games. You would like to think that, oh, just because there's thousands of people on, that there's a good chance of you finding matches. No, no, no. That is not a guarantee in the world of fighting games, right? It's not a guarantee you're even gonna find anybody. Those games have people playing them, and you find matches. Quick. Like, really quick. Again, I think the reason that so many of us are being critical of this game in particular is because we're getting a little bit of deja vu from KOF 15. We now have the direct comparison to Street Fighter 6. 15 came out before Street Fighter 6. We're holding it in direct comparison to what Street Fighter 6 and its online experience kind of is. And I don't mean like all the lobbies and the freaks fighting and all that shit. Like, I don't even engage in that shit, but I have like 500 to 600 hours in that game because I just grinded ranked, dude. Like, just finding matches and playing ranked in that game was a breeze. It just felt so good. So you just jump in, click a button, and no matter what screen you're on, where you're at, you just find games. And sometimes you find games so fast that I have to get out of training mode because I don't get any time to train anything. Like, that's a good problem, right? This problem that a lot of modern fighting games have with like matchmaking in some ways. Even games that got like rollback updates over time. Let's take, for example, Guilty Gear Accent Core and like maybe even Xrd Rev, like Xrd Rev 2. These games got like updates, and when those games came out, there was much fewer people playing those games at launch. Sure, hundreds of people, right? But even when you clicked like the matchmaking functionality of that shit, it worked. Like, there's not many people playing this shit right now. And yeah, I'm not going to get the best player pool that's close to me, but I was still finding people within a short period of time. If you knew somebody else was on the opposite end and they clicked matchmake and you clicked matchmake and there was not many other people playing, guess who got matchmade? You and that person did. That shit is not guaranteed to happen with some fighting games nowadays, with the way matchmaking works. So again, like, credit where credit is due. Street Fighter 6 figured this shit out. Like, you get games, dude. And there was a problem with it at launch. Like, you only got games against people in your region, and then they opened it up. Tekken 8, another game where I almost exclusively play that game in online modes and ranked because it's just so easy to find games. This can be the make it or break it situation for a fighting game, because if you have what is effectively a niche genre, like not a genre, a niche franchise, right? Just a niche game in general that doesn't have the largest player pool, the luxury of a world-class, like, you know, player base from across the world, and you need to find the people that are looking for the games in your region or close to your region, and it will not find it. It's a huge fucking problem. I only compare the online experience that hopefully gets alleviated in Fatal Fury, because the game is mad fun, to another online experience, to a game that I have a lot of fun with sometimes, and I really enjoy its characters. This might come as a surprise to you. It's Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1 has some fun shit in it, dude, and like, ever since this season and the last season ended into this season, I found several things in that game that are really enjoyable, and it's like, damn, I could play this shit. This game's getting better. But every time I run into that problem or run into that situation, I try to jump online. I'm like, all right, so let's just engage with how the online of this game works, and I'm just fucking waiting, bored to tears by how much I'm waiting. I'm just sitting here looking at these trees or some shit, or dealing with the barely functional like lobbies that require me to make friends with people before I can even invite them. It's just like, can I just open a room? These issues straight stop me from playing the game, where I'm enthralled about this character. I'm like, this is so cool. And now I have to go and engage the online experience of the game. And by the end of it, I'm just bored to tears or incredibly frustrated. I'm like, I just want to fight people, dude. I just want to get matches. I just want to like learn how to play the game. And that it's like the game made it so hard for you to do that. Right now, it almost feels like the same issues that we were running into with KOF 15, MK1 is happening to Fatal Fury. And the best news again is that they're talking about fixing that shit. They're talking about like, okay, so the matchmaking is a big problem. In a beta, you should not be waiting 30 to 60 seconds in between matches, much less having like black screens in between every single round. We have learned the importance now in the fighting game space, now that we have perspective with games that have kind of done it well. This shit has to work, bro. Like it just does. It has to match you quickly. It has to like make sense. When you click the button, it does the thing in a relatively timely order. And even if the game had like a training mode, right? Even if you had a training mode and you could fire it up and get shit done, get games, like if it took a long time in between that training mode, it's still a problem, dude. Like when I click ranked, guess what I want to do? Nothing else but fight people. Don't want to look at anything. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to get into games like as quickly as possible. I kind of like stopped playing ranked a couple of times and even the Fatal Fury beta just because I'm like, man, I'm sitting around a lot. I'm really sitting around a lot. Unless I'm super invested into this shit, which some people are with MK1. And it's like, I go to them and I'm like, I talk to the MK1 guys every once in a while. I'm like, you guys have looked at these trees in this game, or like Tekken 7 fans, I'm like, you guys have been waiting for the next battle. You spent countless hours of your life, like literally days to weeks of your life, as those things are in front of you and you just wait. That is uncool, bro. The fact that there's that much waiting is not cool. So again, even if this game gets like a lot of the fixes in general and like some of the netcode issues get fixed, but we don't have a matchmaking system that matches you quickly, people just lose interest. They'll go to something else where they don't have to wait nearly as much. All I'm trying to say with the conclusion of this thought process is that netcode specifically isn't everything. It really isn't. Oh, now we got great online, we're good. Guilty Gear, and I'll say for me personally, Guilty Gear Strive, pretty much had to stop playing it because I just couldn't get matches because of the way like its park system worked and all the arcade machines broke constantly. It stopped me from playing it. Online is amazing for the fucking game, you know? MK1, a game that I really enjoy, but the online experience has me waiting forever, and it's a slog to actually fight people. But I'm really enjoying some characters. I love Conan in that game, dude, and Noob Saibot's incredible, like, and even Takeda. Stopped playing because I just was so bored and so annoyed at the end of the night. But guess what 2 fighting games are out now that have pretty decent online? Street Fighter 6 is like the top standard, but Tekken 8 is pretty decent online. But in both of those games, you get matches, dude. You are matched up quick and fast. And I just sit here in that 4 to 5 hour span of me playing that game, and pretty much for like, no kidding, like 4 hours of that, 75 to 80% of that, I'm fighting people, dude. I'm doing nothing else but fighting people. I think that's really valuable nowadays. And if devs don't realize it, man, it could be the nail in the coffin for like the launch of a fighting game. But again, the best news about Fatal Fury is that the devs are acknowledging it at least, dude. This isn't a KOF 15 situation again, where it's like everyone's screaming to the devs and they're like, no, it's fine, we fixed it. And it's like, bro, it's not fixed. And then they eventually fixed it and it's like, oh, thank God. At least they're like acknowledging that there is a problem. Anyway, I like this game, dude. I love rocking this game. He's so much fucking fun. We're just gonna find even more shit, you know, as we play through it more and more.